Welcome to A Good Life with Soul Haven, presented by Chris Gregg, Samuel Yisrael, and Natasha, the loving chef.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of A Good Life at Soul Haven. Once again joined by Samuel. Hello, Happy New Year.
Hello and Happy New Year.
Hope you're good. And Natasha, the loving chef, is here as well. Hello.
Great to be back again. Happy New Year, Chris.
Yeah, did you have a nice Christmas?
I had a lovely Christmas, thank you. But it came and went really fast again this last year.
It always does, doesn't it? And we're going to be talking about some really interesting things today. We're going to have a chat about New Year's resolutions and why sometimes it's a struggle to keep up with them. Yeah. And also detoxing in the new year. So how helping you and get your body back into a healthy rhythm after all of the excesses of the Christmas period. We're going to have another drumming demonstration from Samuel to ring in the new year with a bit of rhythm, and to also have another talk about permaculture principles. We're up to principle number 4 now, which is about self-regulation and feedback. And I think it's a great chance to take stock, isn't it, as you come into a new year, just to kind of look at the year ahead and kind of think about where you are and kind of get ready to make a few positive changes in your life.
Yeah, certainly do. I mean, we all make those New Year's resolutions, however big or however small, but do we actually keep them throughout the 365 days of the new year? Or do we do the 80 to 20%? Or do we actually, by the end of January, say goodbye to them?
I think a lot of people, it's with the best intention to start with, but then it does get increasingly difficult to stick to good habits. And sometimes you change your priorities as well. As you get into the new year, you suddenly think, actually, yeah, I'm not that bothered about that particular New Year's resolution. You might find new things to do, but you know, you mean them at the time. And I think also when you've just been through a very difficult Christmas and you've done a lot of excess, then it's easy to say, right, I'm never drinking again. I'm never going to eat another plate of turkey. And then you kind of, by February, you're thinking, well, Easter's coming up, maybe chocolate's going to be on the cards, and kind of reevaluate things. But yeah, sticking to New Year's resolutions is a very interesting one. So we're going to start with a bit of self-awareness as we talk about permaculture principles. So I'm going to cross over to Samuel now for the first part, which is all about permaculture principle number 4, which is accepting feedback and self-regulation. So what's that all about?
So this is about taking the time to pause, reflect and thrive. So we talked last time about setting goals, and this is about looking at how this is working, how things are working for us in our lives, and accepting the feedback. So often we don't look at ourselves in hindsight, is the word that I use. So we don't look at ourselves kindly. We kind of criticize where we are. I know that I do that a lot, and it's kind of looking at yourself that it not in a negative way, but trying to balance where you are and understand why you are in that place.
So sort of constructively being critical and self-aware without making it a whole cycle of negativity and putting yourself down the whole time, but just being conscious of the things about yourself that you want to make a difference to. Absolutely.
So without knowing where you are, why you're doing some things, it's sometimes hard to get that perspective. And I know sometimes I sink down into sort of depression and anxiety because I'm thinking, I'm not doing this well enough. Why am I in this place right now? And then I think of some of the things that have brought me to that place. You know, maybe there's been lots of difficult times and you've just about been coping. And, you know, sometimes it's okay to have those dark times because that's what life comes. It is not always easy. And you have to say about, well, I'm at this place because I've experienced, a death in the family, or I've got some heartache. And grief can do that to you. You know, the loss of something, the loss of a person, a loss of drive, loss of purpose. And you know, sometimes during this time of year, we have that. We have a time where we're very, you're either very busy with family, or you might have had a time when you've been very still, and that gives you time to think. And sometimes you might not like what you see, but then it's about, well, how do I want to change it? How do I want to do things differently? And this is all about setting healthy boundaries. When you go back to work, sometimes it's suddenly, oh my goodness, I've got all of this stuff that I need to do and I haven't been able to do it because I've been away. And my inbox is full, or this stuff hasn't been finished, it's still there. And it's putting it down into little chunks to make it achievable. And also welcoming feedback from how people relate to you, seeking input from others about how you deal with things, the way that you are handling the situation is really helpful sometimes.
I think it's quite difficult, like you were saying, to control what you're doing when you're not very good at saying no to people. So you might not really want to take on any more until you're getting the stuff that you're doing sorted, and then suddenly somebody comes to you with something that they'd like help with, and you kind of feel bad saying no. But it is so important to have those boundaries, isn't it? And just learn to just politely decline when people ask for your help. Absolutely. So being able to say no to a situation, or not at the moment, maybe is another way of doing it. I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. I need some space for myself. So that might not be an absolute no. It's just not now. Mm. And that also ties into giving feedback to other people, doesn't it? Because if you're feeling uncomfortable about how somebody in your social group or your family is behaving, don't stand for it. Don't put up with it. Have a conversation and make sure that they understand how they're making you feel, so that you can effect some kind of a change. Yeah, so this is about, like I say, talking things through. Your emotions are going to be coming up, and sometimes you get frustrated, and it's easy to trip into that anger, into that frustration. But just explain things quietly and try and take a step back from that maybe frustration that you feel, so that there's not so much of that emotions coming through. And that might help you to be able to deal with things in an easier manner. Yeah, because sometimes dealing with the situation makes it more stressful in itself, doesn't it? Because you're just kind of amplifying how it makes you feel to try and cope with it, and it's trying to do that in a calm and a rational way, so that you're not getting all het up. And conflict resolution is quite a tricky thing to get right. This is true. So dealing with conflicts is something that I actually tend to really struggle with. I don't like confrontation. Yes, that's the word I was like, I don't want to say it. I don't like that confrontation, and sometimes because of that I get all anxious and I get up, and then when I come to the point of having that point, it's almost like there's something there, and I'm like, oh, and then it's like there's too much there, and I have to let go, and I have to calm myself down, because otherwise it's just too much for me, and I go the opposite way. So that's something to be aware of, how you dealing with conflict, how discussing things in a quiet, sensible way, rather than having that argument. And I'll be the first to say I'm not always very good at that. I think it's difficult when somebody is quite passionate about the situation and they're the one that's brought it up, to try and de-escalate it and have a calm conversation. And sometimes it's not going to happen in the moment. You've got to kind of say, right, can we come back to this when we're both feeling a little bit calmer, and just talk through the situation. It's difficult to do that, especially when somebody is gunning for an argument and they're like, no, I'm really annoyed and I want to just shout at somebody about this. And it's a tricky thing, isn't it? Yes, absolutely. It is very tricky to manage those emotions. And, it's all about the dynamics of what's happening. Maybe give that time to step back. Like you say, you realise that it's not going the way you want, and not now is not the time to talk about it. You need to table it for another time. And that's also why it's important to have a community around you, to have other people who you can go and talk to, other people who can support you, because somebody who's not in the situation may be able to give you that space to be able to talk things through, and there's not so much emotion charged in that time. So we're talking about the different ways of dealing with post-holiday stress and the permaculture principles of accepting self-regulation and feedback here on A Good Life at Soul Haven. And we're up to number 5, which is community dynamics. So how does encouraging a kind of a relationship of accountability within your community make a difference to helping with that kind of dynamic within the community?
Well, this is all about connection. So when I say community dynamics, that's the community of your family, the wider community, as I just said, about somebody who is outside of the immediate situation to be able to help you bring that focus in, growing together. At Soul Haven, we really encourage people to create community together. We're bringing people together to create connection, to separate you from the isolation that you may be experiencing, so that you have other people who have a different point of view, and you can able to discuss that in a different way. You're meeting new people who can point a light in the situation and show you that something can be done differently, that you have another way of doing something.
Fabulous. So have we got some examples of this in practice, of when you've actually applied these principles to resolve an issue or kind of make things a little bit better?
Yes, so like helping somebody who maybe they're feeling a bit anxious, they're getting a bit het up. So we have lots of spaces around Soul Haven where people can go and take time out. It sounds like you're a little child, but we that's really important, to have that space where you can have that moment to just settle. You have a space where you can go and sit, just two people, and feel comfortable. You can feel safe, and be able to express that thing or give somebody a direction. So today I've got a fidget ring, so I wear a ring on my little finger, and sometimes when I'm feeling anxious, I can just twist that, and that helps me calm down. And what I've realised looking at it, when I've done some research, is that often things that you fidget with, take those voices in your head. You have all these voices that are echoing around, and having something that focuses your mind in that moment, so you're not focusing on this, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You can focus on that simple thing of moving something, and it brings that focus back into, I can be still. I can just focus on this thing for a moment, and I can forget everything else.
Seems a lot more practical than getting your drum out in the middle of a situation and just starting banging out a rhythm, because it achieves the same thing, doesn't it? It's focusing on one activity, and the same with like doing colouring or doodling when you're on the phone to somebody, and it kind of helps you concentrate on the thing that you're wanting to focus on. Yes,
absolutely. So, we've talked a lot about using drumming. Again, I use the ring. It's something that I can actually play a little rhythm on if I wanted to, because it makes a little jingling sound, and I can move it, and that helps me focus. And often people use these fidget tools with people with autism, AHAD, but it can be used for anybody really, to be able to bring that moment of focus. That's something that takes you out of that moment of anxiety or stress and brings focus and clarity.
Which is what it's all about. It's about just kind of making sure that you're living the best life that you can do, and that all of the things that are stressing you out and making life difficult are resolved. And this is what you help people with at Soul Haven, and just creating that sort of harmonious human ecosystem that's in tune with the way that nature would be, which is what these permaculture principles are all about.
Absolutely. So this is about bringing balance. So when you look at the way that plants grow, plants are often, they have something that will complement them, something that grows next to it, that thrives off it. So for example, we grow beans next to cucumbers, because beans bring I'm trying to think which way around it is. One of them brings the nitrogen out of the soil, and one of them needs lots of oxygen. One of them brings it in, puts lots of nitrogen into the soil, and one needs lots of nitrogen to grow. So that's often how what can be with people. You need somebody else who can bring something into your life that maybe you struggle with, can help you to look at things in a different point of view.
Kind of like the giant at the top of the beanstalk.
Yes, that's very apt when you're talking to me, as I'm very tall.
Yes. On a little cloud up there. Cool. So we've got an engagement question now. So we want you to have a think about something in your life and share your thoughts with us on our social media, wherever you're listening to or watching the podcast. You can leave your comments down at the bottom. So what's our sort of engagement thing to think about for this one?
So think about what are the patterns in your life that you are experiencing? What are the things that you see that come up time and time again that you would like to change? Okay,
so have a little think about that, and maybe it's something that you've noticed over the course of your life that seems to keep happening, or a new pattern that's just emerged in a situation that you're in now, or something that you're worried might be an issue in the new year that started happening that you're thinking, hang on a minute, I keep doing the same thing, making the same mistake, or maybe something positive that's happening to you that seems to keep recurring, and you're trying to get your head around it. But yeah, leave your thoughts, and we'll talk about this on the next episode, because I think that'll be very interesting to kind of get some feedback and kind of share some experiences. And next we're going to be talking all about New Year's resolutions. So we're going to cross over to Natasha, the loving chef, to talk about New Year's resolutions now on A Good Life at Soulhaven. And I think this is something that people are very conscious of now, beginning of January. We've been through the whole of 2024, and it's the start of a new year. And I think a lot of people are hoping that this year is going to be different in lots of different ways, maybe in terms of their life or their work or their relationships, or bad habits. And a lot of us do make these New Year's resolutions, but it's sometimes very difficult to stick to them, isn't it?
Absolutely it is. Doing a little review over the festive season, and you go, right, okay, like Chris said earlier, I'm never going to eat chocolate again, I'm never going to drink again. But actually, why do we not succeed so well in our New Year's resolutions? There are many different things that we can talk about. Things like, let's pick one, unrealistic goals. So one of my goals for 2024 was to get healthy. And I just wrote on my notebook, get healthy. And that was it.
Without any kind of specific what that actually means, or...
Nope, absolutely nothing. And then come October, I actually realised I had no meaning to it. I had no measurable meaning to it. So I changed, even though it's in October, I changed the wish, and actually realised, I need to work smarter. I need to know how to measure it, what is going to be, what is the daily action around it, and then I can move forward with that. So actually my being healthy was to be able to walk to the end of the street and back. I've been through a couple of different operations recently, and I wasn't able to walk too far. But changing and switching that unrealistic of I want to be healthy into something realistic. So my goal was to walk to number 54 down the street, and then the next day it would be number 55 down the street. The following month I'd walk to the end of the high street and then back up again. So it's more realistic, it's more tangible. You can tick a box of, I'm actually doing this, because otherwise you get to see nothing as a result, because we're not measuring it that way.
Yeah, you don't know if you're getting healthier or not. You might be getting less healthy, but you're not measuring it. And then where's the motivation to make any changes when you don't know if you've achieved anything?
Yeah, absolutely not. There is no motivation. There's no. So I always say action creates traction. So yes, I'm going to walk to number 55, and you think, yeah, that's a really good adrenaline rush and a real good tick in my soul box, and that gives you the motivation to do it the next day. So yeah, so make your resolutions tangible, measurable, and what does that mean to you?
I found my watch was really helpful a few years ago because it tells you how many steps you've done and how many calories you've burnt and stuff. And there was a day I forgot to charge it. And I was so disappointed because I didn't get my daily goal. And I actually phoned up Apple and said, is there any way of kind of changing this? Because I was on a 400-day streak and then I didn't charge my watch. And I was like, oh no. And there have been nights when I hadn't quite got to the right number of steps and I was just shaking my watch to try and get it. It's a little bit obsessive.
Yeah, but that obsession can be turned into the motivation of doing it. And it's like, yeah, I did it yesterday, I want to do it again tomorrow. And that does build the traction of resolving and creating something that you actually want to achieve during the course of 2025 as well.
So what are some of the other reasons why sometimes we fail with our New Year's resolutions?
Lack of planning. You know, how do we plan? Let's just say, I want to go on holiday this year. Great. Where do you want to go? When do you want to go? Do you have to apply for holiday annual leave with your work? You know, do you have to structure it around the children's holiday time?
Do you know what I found out? If they're under 5, you can take them out of school and you don't get fined.
Oh, wow.
I know. That's handy. I won't say why that's relevant, but, you know.
Yeah, but it's all those planning things that actually brings you results. So when we're looking back at this time next year of 2025 and moving on forward to 2026, we can actually say, yes, we achieved that holiday. So take small baby steps leading up to it and doing the plan of it really does actually motivate us and be able to achieve more what it is that we're actually looking for along the way.
And also saves money if you plan these things in advance and you're not leaving it to the last minute. Sometimes it can be a lot cheaper because you can get all of those special offers and things, and there isn't always a last minute deal. And sometimes it actually gets more expensive the longer you leave it.
Yeah, definitely with the economy flights and things, yes.
And what are some of the other reasons?
We've got no emotional connection. So let's just say, I know many years ago I wrote on my New Year's resolution that I'm going to buy a big house. I want to buy a 4-story detached house. Great. Happy days. I did all the planning for it and everything else. But because it wasn't a goal that I owned, it wasn't me, it was some superficial goal along the way of, oh, we all need to have these materialistic things and keep up with the Joneses or next door or blah blah blah. It wasn't realistic. It wasn't something that was sitting in my heart and my heart space. So actually wanting to move forward and push with it wasn't something that really wasn't I wanted to do. So so it had no emotional connection to it at all. And resolutions and plans don't have to be big. They don't have to be the normal thing. The house, the car, the big garden and things. They can actually be the smaller, more meaningful things, the personal things to us.
Do you think quite often we do make New Year's resolutions about things that we think we ought to do rather than things that we want to do? And then we're not really motivated because we don't really want to do the thing anyway?
Absolutely. Yeah, peer pressure sometimes. You know, if you're a younger teenager listener, you know, oh, I've got to go into college, I need to get these good exam results because my mother's told me so, or my parents, or my guardian, or because that's the normal peer pressure that we need to do along the way, and we've got to have this great education. But actually, it could be the fact that you're very artistic and you want to create and you want to tap into your creative juices rather than getting the academic qualifications.
So we're talking about New Year's resolutions here on A Good Life at Soul Haven. We're going through some of the reasons why sometimes New Year's resolutions are easier said than done, and sometimes they don't always work out. And we're on to number 4 now, which is all or nothing thinking.
All or nothing thinking. Oh my gosh. If anybody is like me, I run a perfection program. I really do. Trying to let that one go. But yeah, so if I don't get things perfect, or if we don't get things perfect, we think that we're a failure. And then it's crossed off the list, never to be addressed again. Whereas actually, if you were to take and let go of the perfection and go, okay, go with the flow, like nature goes with the flow, water goes with the flow. Sometimes the water or the stream wants to go in one direction, but nature of the hill and the valleys take it in a whole different direction. Well, the water doesn't just stop, it just goes with the flow of things, you know, and it goes, okay, I'll just let go of that perfection a little bit, and I'll just go and see where it goes and where it actually takes me, because the universe also takes us on journeys that sometimes we're underplanned for.
That's a very good example with the water, because you can't make water flow uphill. You can't change where water's going to go. It's going to go where it's going to go, and you can plan for it, and you can, you know, build little channels and things, but you can't change the basic principles of gravity.
No. No. Definitely not.
Okay, so number 5 is taking a little bit too much on with resolutions.
Absolutely. Let's sit down on New Year's Eve and let's write 15 things that we want to do, achieve, plan for, do everything. And we're sitting there on New Year's Eve and we're doing all of this work and in our notebooks and everything. And then obviously reality strikes, comes back in. We all go back to work. Life gets normal again. We get super busy, and then the feeling of the failure, I'm not doing, I'm not achieving, I'm not doing that I actually want to do, because your list is too long. So rather than doing 15 things, perhaps you could do 1 or 2 things as a resolution, build up the momentum, build up the confidence, build up the traction, and then complete those. And there is no time, no space of when we can make a resolution or a wish list or a manifestation list. You know, we could do it in quarterly chunks. Once a quarter, I'll make a new list of what I want to achieve this year.
But could you do that as the thing that you do at the end of the year? So you write down your list of 15 things that you're not happy about, and you say, right, let's deal with these ones in the first quarter of the year, and let's leave these ones to 2026 and make it manageable. But you might also find when you write them down, there's some patterns, and you can group them together and say, right, okay, these are all to do with healthy lifestyle, so let's come up with an achievable goal and kind of cross those ones off the list.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good idea, Chris.
So number 6 is lack of support or accountability. So I think a lot of the time, if you don't tell anybody about your New Year's resolutions, or you just they're just in your head and you've never actually said to anybody, this is my New Year's resolution, you're not going to stick to it, are you?
Absolutely not. The accountability for sharing is accountability. You know, speaking and communicating with your partners, your loved ones, your families, your work colleagues. So also letting them know what you want to achieve throughout the year actually helps you as well, because then it brings up conversations. They can ask the questions, well, how are you getting on? Can I help you or support you in any way? And also, there's a really good saying of 2 heads are better than 1. So it doesn't all have to come from oneself. It can come through the community around you or your accountability around you as well. We are all one at the end of the day, and we can't think of everything all in one go in our own heads.
I think if you're in a relationship, sometimes it's good to have aligned New Year's resolutions. So if you both are saying, yeah, well, let's start going cycling at the weekend, or let's both start eating a healthier breakfast cereal, or whatever it is, it's easier to stick to because you can motivate each other.
Yeah, absolutely it does. You know, and motivation and accountability really is one key factor to help you achieve the resolutions that you would like.
Okay, so we're on to New Year's resolution failure reason number 7 now. The fact that there's 9 of these, it just shows why it's so difficult to stick to New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, underestimating habit formation.
Okay.
Yeah, people often expect immediate results, forgetting that habits take time to form. So yes, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to lose 3 stone. And I've been to the gym once, and I expect to have lost 4 stone and built up my muscles and done everything all at once. And why isn't that working? I'm going to park it and put it to one side. Whereas we have to be patient, we have to be consistent, and we have to form habits. Like habits, a lot of people say habits are formed after 21 days of doing it. take 21 days of actually taking the small steps towards it, and then it becomes more of a habit. Now, a resolution could be as simple as I'm going to get up in the morning, undraw my curtains and make my bed, which is a very important part of mindset and your mental health state. But every day for 21 days, if you were to do that, it would then become a habit to be able to do it a lot more better, focusing on forming the small daily habits rather than the drastic changes overnight.
I think the most difficult thing about going to the gym is actually turning up at the door of the gym every time, because you could do it once and then unless it becomes part of your routine, it's just remembering to do it or getting into the routine of doing it or just fitting it into your life. And there's always, when it's something you don't really want to do, there's other things that become more important. Like anything, like doing your tax at the end of the year, which is my bugbear. It's very hard to find the time and the motivation to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it goes back to the connection, the emotional connection to it. Do you actually really want to go to the gym? Or do you want to go and do 30 minutes walking instead? Or do you want to climb the stairs 50 times instead? Is that a better resolution or new habit that you would prefer to jump into rather than going to the gym?
I'm going to say no to climbing the stairs 50 times. It's not going to happen this week. And then reason number 8 is external pressure.
Yes, resolutions driven by society or peer pressure. We have touched on that already. Making resolutions that align to personal desires rather than other people's desires and what other people tend to think that you need to have or want to have. I know from a very young age, my parents said to me, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to, you have to tidy your room. Whereas actually I never wanted to tidy my room with things. So a lot of peer pressure and lack of self-personal connection is another external pressure.
Okay, and number 9 is failing to track your progress.
Yeah, how can we say things are working? If you go back to my example of walking to number 55, I actually logged that in a journal every day. So I've got, and I still do it to this day, of everything that I want to achieve in a day on a very personal level, like drinking celery juice, drinking herbal teas, doing 10 minutes of exercise. So in my journal I'm a ticker. I like my tick boxes. And that's what floats my boat. But somebody else might want to draw a shape in their journal or actually write down what they've achieved. So every day, if you're tracking it, it actually motivates you to do it again the following day along there. So yes, and you can see it. It's tangible, it's touchable, it's visible, and it also regularly be able to reevaluate what is working and what is not working. You can look back and say, well, how many times this week have I been to the gym? Oh, okay. Then we can realign that resolution and perhaps park it and make or bring in a different resolution for the next quarter.
So we've had 9 different things to avoid with keeping your New Year's resolutions. What would you say are the overarching tips to make sure that you succeed with them?
That's a really good question. So tips, start small.
Okay.
Absolutely start small. Bring in tiny little changes rather than the big drastic changes. Celebrate all successes. We're always driven to the end goal. Oh, we have to do this yet, we have to do that yet. Whereas actually, celebrate however you want to celebrate, or you can even plan in the different celebrations. If you're losing weight at this time, if I let go of a stone, that's great. Well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go and visit a cinema, or I'm going to go out
buy a massive Easter egg and eat it all up.
No. But go out for a nice meal with your family or your partner, or just do something that really entitles you to celebrate your success along the way, because that driven to that goal, it's not the destination, it's actually about the journey moving forward. And be flexible, adjust your goals. When we sit here on the new year and we write out our resolutions, actually be like the water. be adaptable, be flexible. Is it going left? Is it going right? Is it going, actually, I don't want to do that, or something particular in the gym, or your food habits? Is it working or is it not working? Reflect, review, check in, evaluate, track, and also have fun. Because that's what it's all about too. It doesn't have to be the hard seriousness of the resolutions. Have fun with it. Explore, adventure.
I think the best thing about it is it just gives you something to focus on. It gives you a purpose for certainly the first bit of the year, because you're thinking about New Year's resolutions and you're kind of changing your habits and you're living life a little bit differently, and it gives you something to aim for. And I think if you follow your tips and you do it in the right way, then it can be a really positive thing rather than just something that you think, oh no, I can't be bothered, and then it's just a flash in the pan. So we do want to hear from you as well, if you're listening to or watching this, to tell us about your experiences with New Year's resolutions, and how you've got on in the past and what you're going to do differently this year, and what your New Year's resolutions are as well, because some people have got some really quirky, interesting ones, and some of them are pretty obvious, but also some of the classics are the hardest to stick to sometimes. But yeah, tell us about your New Year's resolutions and tell us what you're planning to do this year differently, or is it always a success story for you? Do you always stick to your New Year's resolutions? Do they always work out, or are you one of the majority of people where they're forgotten by Easter and then you move on with the rest of your year? Are there people that get to the end of the year and say, okay, how have I done this year with my New Year's resolutions? Let's make another one. I think Bridget Jones was quite good at New Year's resolutions. She always seemed to have quite a good list, and was definitely monitoring them in written form. Okay, so we're on to our next section now on A Good Life at Soulhaven, and we're talking drumming. And Samuel is back, and he's brought his drum in again, a different drum this time. What have you got?
I have got a frame drum. So this is a very different from last time. So this type of drum is used often by shamans, so Native Americans would use it, peoples in Europe use it as well. So it's a wooden frame with then often a skin across it. This one is actually just not actually from an animal, it's synthetic, that's the word I'm looking for.
So it does say buffalo skin on it, but it's not literally.
Yes, so it's called a buffalo drum because that's how it's been influenced by. These buffalo drums were what they were originally from in America by the Native American Indians, and they used you can see if I turn it round, there's actually rope on the back of it, which enables me to be able to hold the drum, because otherwise there's not actually anything that I can hold the drum with.
Because drums don't work as well if you're holding them, because the vibrations just stop, don't they, if you've got your hand over the drum.
That's right. So if you can actually, when you hold the drum, you can, if I put my, I don't know if you
hold the rope.
I hold the rope.
And you stick your finger on it.
If I put my finger on it, it sounds quite dull, but if I take it off, it's very different. So completely
different.
So
that's really, really interesting.
You can hear the difference of the sound, but if I'm actually putting something on the drum, it deadens it. And often when we play music, that's something that we might do to kind of change the tone or the experience.
But the sound of that drum is so much more resonant and deeper than the bongos that we had in before, because I guess it's a bigger surface, or it's stretched more tightly. What makes that sound so different?
Yeah, it's because it's a bigger surface. It's got the more resonance to it, and also the type of skin changes. Each one of these, if you have a drum that's made from a natural skin, every one is different. So what I'm going to do is, you can join in. So we can just tap on your knees, a simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're just going to play that 1, 2. this is often something that I would use in sound meditations, because there's the vibration is something that's moving across your body. There's more vibration here to experience, and the theory is that as you experience the vibration of sound, it brings changes into your body.
So interesting how the sound of the drum is different every time you hit it. It's not the same sound over and over again. The note seems to just kind of change ever so slightly every time. Just makes it more interesting. And also just, it sounds a lot more hypnotic, this drum, than the bongos. It's kind of, you get lost in it a lot more.
Yes.
So as you were counting and hitting the drum, you just kind of, you can't focus on anything other than just the sound of the drum.
Yeah, absolutely that. And so this, if I bring it up, you can hear maybe that there's a little echo.
It's like it's always breathing, isn't it? It's just always making some kind of sound with the air in the room, kind of making it vibrate very slightly.
Yes, so that's the wonder of this type of drum and sound meditation, is it can speak to you. And really, I would encourage people, if they are able to get this type of drum, it can be really helpful in that kind of meditative practice. Or you can listen to these online. I'll put some recordings onto our YouTube channel.
It's amazing, but when it's in the room, it's hard to kind of record the depth of sound, like all of the frequencies that are coming out of that drum, unless you've got a really, really good microphone. And hopefully it's coming across on the podcast today, but it does sound amazing.
Yes. If I just do it again, and I'll hit it a bit harder. I mean, hopefully it's not affecting the...
I have to turn the microphone down a bit, but yeah, that's fine.
Is that okay?
Amazing. And how loud would you normally go with it while you're playing it? Was that about the volume?
It depends on what I'm doing. That's quite a gentle one. I mean, it can go quite loud.
It sounds so much quieter when you stop playing the drum than it did before you started playing it, doesn't it? The room just suddenly sounds really empty when the drum stops.
Yeah, that's part of the kind of experience, is that the noted difference between when the sound stops, that moment of silence is also quite, your brain is giving up, there's something changed, it's different.
It's like when someone's doing the vacuuming and you stop noticing the vacuum cleaner, and then suddenly, I'm not saying your drum's like a vacuum cleaner, but when it stops, suddenly it's like, that's really, I didn't know that I was in this state of tension from the sound of the vacuum cleaner, but when it does stop, you suddenly are like, I can really appreciate peace and quiet now. The same with children, although that never stops. You never get that moment when you got kids. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So what are we going to talk about next?
So I'd just like to say that if you do enjoy the experience of the drum, we are doing a sound meditation on the third Wednesday of every month. So the next one is the 15th of January. And then after that, it will be the 19th of February. So It's at 7:00 at Solhaven. So you can find these events on Facebook or on our website, solonghavens.co.uk.
And I would highly recommend going along to a drumming workshop, because you really can't experience it unless you're actually in the room to kind of hear how the drum makes you feel, because it's incredible, very powerful. Okay, well, we're going to be talking about foods that help you with weight loss and detoxing after the festive season next. And that requires talking once again to Natasha, the loving chef. Hello, Natasha. So we're talking about foods that help you lower weight and detox after the festive season now on A Good Life at Solhaven. And we've got 8 or 9 examples of foods that are great for detox. And detox is one of those things that you hear people talking about in the new year, and people mean different things with it. But what really is a detox?
Great question. Thank you, Chris. So detox, in my personal experience, is detox. Now, it could be a detox from sugar, it could be from alcohol, it could be from your chocolate, it could be from processed food, it could be from meat. We've got veganuary coming up, or actually it's already started, so we've got veganuary as well. So, but a detox essentially is detoxing your major organs, your heart, your liver, your kidneys and your digestive system along the way. Let go of everything that you don't want to hold or maybe have stored or added to over your festive season with things. Detox is great for, let's talk about the benefits a moment. Detox is really great to get clarity, less brain fog, more energy, overall feeling of physical well-being. It helps you stay focused, and also removes a lot of the processed numbers, chemicals that we might have had.
Because they all get stored up in your body, don't they? All these toxins, and they're not always the kind of toxins that you imagine being really bad, like nicotine and alcohol and caffeine and stuff. It's things that come from processed food, free radicals and things.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that your body really doesn't need to have and shouldn't have.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it could be anything. And if our organs aren't working properly, and then we get different ailments along the way. So I know when my liver, when my liver isn't functioning properly and it needs a little bit of TLC to it, I come out in spots, in acne. I also feel a lot more sluggish within myself. My ankle swells because the liver's not working at the rate it should work, or even wants to work.
Okay, well, luckily we have some examples of foods that will help with your detox, and also probably weight loss as well, which is a nice side effect. But I think the main focus is getting those toxins out of your body. So the first one is leafy greens. Leafy greens,
gosh, you've got your kale, your spinach, you've got your lettuce. Helps to neutralise toxins and support the liver function along the way. It's high in it's high in antioxidants and fibre, which helps promote your digestive system and reduce inflammation as well. So part of or a sign that you need a detox is inflammation.
And also, if your digestive system isn't working the way that it normally does after Christmas, I think everybody has like a few differences in how they're feeling. And I think a lot of the, that Christmas Day afternoon feeling where you're on the sofa and you can just feel like you really shouldn't have eaten all of that food. It's just not a nice feeling. All those stomach cramps and stuff, it just really helps with that. The second one, which is good news because we've just got 2 sacks of Brussels sprouts that we got on one of these food sharing websites, and I was like, what are we going to do with 2 sacks? I think we're going to be eating Brussels sprouts for the rest of January and February. Green vegetables are really good for you, aren't they?
Absolutely they are. So let's take your Brussels sprouts for a moment. You can prepare them, lightly steam them. You can then dress them with lemon juice, garlic, turmeric, and eat them warm over a bed of salad. That is hugely beneficial.
I think anything that stops them tasting like Brussels sprouts is positive.
Absolutely. But Brussels sprouts are one of the best things to help you detox your body along the way. So you've got broccoli, you've got cauliflower. Cauliflower is another vegetable that actually helps detox your body as a whole system as well. So yes, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, celery. Yes, they're all in there.
I think they're all nice if you know how to prepare them in the right way so that they're tasty. And actually, curried broccoli is amazing. When you just get a little dust of curry powder on the broccoli and fry it slightly, it's delicious. I don't know if it's still that healthy when you do that to it, but it's still a vegetable. Same with cauliflower and celery is great with a hummus dip or just as part of a salad. It's all good.
Yeah. Definitely be more mindful about what you're eating.
And number 3 is citrus fruits. So your oranges and lemons and easy peelers, lots of those in Santa's stockings.
Absolutely, yeah. So you got vitamin C, and primarily vitamin C is a key antioxidant. Another way to get it into your daily task is to have it with hot water. So first thing in the morning, I enjoy a freshly squeezed lemon with boiled and then semi-cooled water. It really does start your organs, all of your organs started for the day, because obviously we've laid down flat, they've done their hard work whilst we've slept, and then they've laid dormant for a bit because we haven't consumed any water or food. And lemon juice or lime juice really does kickstart them into, oh right, okay, we're up and running again now, ready for the day.
And I think if you're somebody that carries around a bottle of water all day, it's nice to have a slice of fruit in there just to make it a bit more interesting, and then you're getting that vitamin C as well.
Yeah, water can be a little bit boring and tasteless, but yeah, freshly squeezed is good.
Number 4 is garlic. I do really like garlic. It's not the most sociable, but if you're not a vampire, it doesn't do you any harm, does it, at all?
No, garlic contains sulfur compounds, which is actually really good to activate the liver enzymes and helps to flush out the toxins. And a really good tip here, if you are eating garlic, and it's fresh garlic, if you peel the clove, cut it in half, and there's like a stalky bit in the centre, if you remove that, it stops your breath from smelling.
No way. What an that's life-changing insight.
Just take out that little centre and it tastes just as great, but there's no smelly breath.
It's like the bit in the middle of the onion, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
That's particularly pungent.
Yeah.
That's what makes you cry, I think. If you don't chop that bit of the onion, it's not as bad.
Yeah, if you don't chop the root of the onion and just leave it without taking the tiny bits of root off until you've finished, there's no tears.
There we go. See, this is useful advice. Okay, number 5 is ginger.
Ginger, I love ginger. Lots of people love ginger. Now, ginger can be root ginger. You get Indian ginger. You can have powdered format ginger. Obviously, the fresh ones are the best. But if you haven't got that, or if you've got a whole stock of ginger that you wish to use up in your pantry, then powdered ginger is just as good as well. Ginger is really good because it aids digestion, and it also reduces inflammation again.
It's fantastic.
Improves circulation, good for blood. So I can talk all day about ginger.
Ginger is amazing. Okay, well, we've got lots more foods that are useful to help you with your detox in the new year coming up. But first of all, I'm going to play some more music. So it is A Good Life at Soul Haven, and we're talking about foods to help you detox after the festive season. I'm on to food number 6 now, which is turmeric.
Turmeric is amazing. Now, you can actually get fresh turmeric from a lot of supermarkets today. It's a root herb. So you obviously use it fresh if you can. I'll put a disclaimer out now. Now, if you are using fresh on a chopping board or on a white surface in your kitchen, you are going to get stains. So just be very careful about how you chop it or what you chop it on. But turmeric is really, really beneficial. It supports liver detoxification, reduces inflammation, and acts as a really powerful antioxidant along the way. Ginger, you can have hot water. So instead of your lemon juice, you can have a slice of fresh ginger in hot water instead. Put it in your curries, put it in your soups, just put it in your stews, just add it everywhere you can. It's really, really beneficial for your detox.
That sounds amazing. And now berries are also really good, aren't they?
Berries, yes. Now, a lot of people say about fruits, and fruits are really good for you. There's a variety of different fruits. Obviously, you've got your oranges, your melons and things, but berries are so good for you whilst you are doing the detox. Things like blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and blackberries when we can get hold of blackberries. They're very, very good as an antioxidant that produce the cells from the that helps reproduce the cells from the damage from your liver. So your liver can actually heal and regrow again as long as we're feeding it the right things along the way. So yes, so very, very good. And also, berries are really good for your gut health as well. Your little inside internal garden that happens at the bottom of the stomach. We want that to be full of blossom and flowers and things rather than the weeds and the not so great things in your gut flora.
So do you think it's important to make sure when you're eating berries and fruit that it's organic, it's not got any chemicals in it, or is it more important just to get the fruit affordably?
Get the fruit more affordably. Obviously, if you can afford organic, tick that box, absolutely. But rather than saying, well, I can't afford organic, so I'm not going to have it at all. But when you do get your fresh berries or frozen berries, sorry, I retract that. When you get your fresh berries, just make sure you wash them first. But you can also use frozen berries. There is no harm from going to your local supermarket and getting packets of frozen berries, as long as they are not coated in sugar.
Which you can tell if you read the packet.
Yeah,
these are sugar-coated berries. And like you were saying before, water and hydrating yourself with fruit and juices is so important.
Yeah, cucumber juice, watermelon juice, celery juice. Celery juice is absolutely amazing.
I didn't know celery juice was a thing.
Oh, gosh, yeah, it certainly is. Celery juice is phenomenal. Now, celery juice just by itself. So literally, head of celery, get it from a supermarket or your farmer's market or out of your garden, chop it up, stick it through a juicer and drink it. It is amazing. It helps detoxification, it helps your blood circulation, it helps inflammation. It's full of vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin K. Have it on an empty stomach. You may have to stay near a toilet for a while, because it cleanses and lets go of things for the first few times, putting it politely.
But does your body get used to it then?
Your body does get used to it. Yeah, it really does get used to it. So I do 2 pints of celery juice every single morning.
Wow, that's a lot of celery.
Yeah, it's a lot of celery, but I notice the difference. Really do. It helps with the whole system, an internal organ system inside. It helps my skin. It helps let go of the brain fog as well. So yeah, celery juice is like the new thing for us.
Tip of the week.
Yeah, tip of the week, definitely.
I mean, is it better to have the fibre from actually eating celery than the juice, or is it better to drink the? Because I guess you'd never manage to eat as much celery as you would be juicing for 2 pints.
No, definitely. You would never be able to eat, well, most people won't be able to eat 2 heads of celery at a time. You get bored of it. Juice it. Don't take the fibre, because the fibre clogs up a little bit, because the celery juice is so rich in all the nutrients that it needs. So remove the fibre. Now, if you haven't got a juicer, stick your celery into a blender and then sieve it, so you keep the fibre out and just take the juice. It's amazing. You can start off with a little tiny thimbleful. A lot of people say to me, I don't like celery juice. I don't like celery. I'll let you into a little secret. I don't like celery either. I love celery juice.
Wow. I mean, is it sweet?
It's sweet.
Okay.
Yeah. Once you've juiced it, then take it straight away. It's very, very sweet, and it doesn't taste anything like celery sticks as you gnaw on. So yeah.
Wow. I've learnt so much today. This is great. And the last one is herbal tea.
Herbal teas, keep your herbal tea. So a very important part of detoxification is staying hydrated. Herbal teas are a really good way. There are many, many different herbal teas out there. Just keep in check whether they've got any caffeine in there, because obviously we want to detox from caffeine as much as possible. One of my favourite ones is hibiscus tea. Hibiscus is herbal. It's full of antioxidants. It helps support weight loss. It helps lowers your sugars. So if anybody's thinking about diabetes or pre-diabetes, it helps lower your sugar, lowers your sugars. It flushes out toxins, and it also alleviates stress as well, because part of liver and liver functions, if you're very stressful, it doesn't do any good to your livers at all. So yeah, but you'll find hibiscus tea in most herbal shops now. You'll find them in the world aisle of most supermarkets, and a natural thing, and literally a pinch of hibiscus in the bottom of a glass or a mug filled with boiled cooled water. Let them stew for a few minutes, or if you're like me, I like it really, really strong. Just let it there and sip it throughout the day. It's beautiful.
So we're talking detox here on A Good Life at Soulhaven, and we've been through some great examples of foods and drinks that can help you detox. And Natasha, the loving chef, is here with me. So what are your top tips for maximising the benefits of your detox?
Great. Okay, so stay hydrated. Avoid processed foods. Again, we've talked about that. Avoid processed foods. They're full of refined sugars that we don't need, or trans fats that we don't need, and artificial additives. Okay, then they're full of things that we don't need anymore as well. Incorporate fibre, because fibre is good to let go of things and help your gut. And balance. Remember, it's all about balance. And going back to the goal setting, you don't have to do it perfectly. Just get it going.
And it's about getting a little bit of the good stuff and just making sure that you're going to stick to it. Because if you literally just have a diet of celery juice, as tasty as it sounds, you might get a bit bored of that. And the same with the Brussels sprouts, maybe. Yeah. And do something for 3 days, 5 days. Just start off slow. It's not about, oh my God, I'm never allowed to eat da-da-da-da-da again. Just give yourself some loving, give yourself a little TLC for 3 days and see how it goes. Now, there's an event coming up where you can come along and have a chat to Natasha, kind of get some one-to-one tips and have some tasty food as well, which is going to be happening on the 25th of January.
Yep, we do a themed supper club once a month in the yurt. We're going Mexican this
yummy
time. Oh yeah,
love Mexican.
It's going to be amazing. So we've got a selection of starters. Now, there is one requirement if you're going to join us on a supper club. You have to bring a very big appetite. There is lots and lots of food. 3 courses of food. And it's not just one starter, so it's always a meze of different things.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah.
I always end up wearing more than I eat with Mexican. It just ends up all over me.
Yep. But there is a lot of food that's done. And again, it's all refined sugar-free, gluten-free, and it's all meat-free as well. So, yes,
oh, wow.
So it's all plant-based.
So a nice guacamole.
Yes. So yeah, come along, have a look, and you can find some more information on the Loving Chef Facebook page if you want to do that, or contact us personally.
So that's Saturday the 25th of January from about 7 o'clock in the evening?
Yeah, 7 o'clock. It's done through a community table as well, so it's all one large table in the yurt, and you get to meet new friends along the way.
Sounds amazing. So details of all of this can be found on the Facebook page, which for Natasha is facebook.com/Natasha the Loving Chef. It's easy to remember. So you're listening to A Good Life at Soulhaven, and one of the things that we do on every edition of the programme is go through our cards and our focus for the week ahead, and Samuel is doing the cards again this week. And you've got them there, looking beautiful, nicely shuffled.
All ready to just again. So this is just one method for helping bring focus, something to reflect on during the week. So we just pick a card, If I give Chris the cards to take one out of the pack.
Okay, I'm going to have a little shifty shuffle myself of these, and then we'll see what we get. And it's reflect.
Ooh.
So for me, reflecting, I think this is perfect card for this time of the year, because as we go into a new year, it's kind of a moment to take stock and kind of think about the year gone by and have a moment to reflect on what went well, what didn't go so well, what we want to do differently. And this all ties into everything we've been talking about today with New Year's resolutions, with detoxing, with kind of mindfulness and focus, and just kind of making a few little differences to make sure that you're living your life slightly better in 2025. So I think this is a very, very apt card for this season. What do you think?
Absolutely. So, we've talked today a lot about pausing and reflecting to be able to thrive in the future. It's taking this time to reflect on where we have been and what we would like to do in the future. It's really important to have that time.
Absolutely. Okay, so what are we going to be talking about next time?
So we're going to be looking at what's happening in our community garden. That's something that we're going to start to bring in as the spring comes in, what we're going to be planting. Natasha's going to be talking more about relationship with food. We're going to be discussing how winter invites us to prepare for the growth of spring. And then looking at the permaculture principle number 5, use and value renewable resources.
Very interesting. Well, we've covered a lot in the programme today, and if you want to find out more details about any of the things that we've talked about, then first port of call is the Soul Haven website and socials, and you can reach out to Natasha and Samuel, and if you've got any questions or feedback on the things that we were asking about, the little conversation points that we were talking about with New Year's resolutions, and with the permaculture principles and your experience with that, then please do leave those on the comments on the podcast and the video, and we'll talk about those in the next edition. But thank you again for your time, you two, and we will see you on the next episode.
Thank you.